Good morning. My name is Kiki, and I am setting a goal to change my life in 6 months. Um, for a couple of reasons. The first is I'm very heavily inspired by people like Beatrice Caruso and Natalie Marie. I saw Natalie Marie's videos on changing her life in 6 months, and her goal is to be somebody that her 80-year-old self will be proud of, right? Um, and I think that that's awesome. First of all, elephant in the room. My room's a mess. Um, I want to be as like honest and real as possible. And there are going to be some things that I keep kind of close to my chest, right? Some things that I keep to myself. Um, but also, I don't want to sugarcoat. I really did think about cleaning my room and like doing all of the things to get ready. Um, but I figured I should just start. So I woke up. I haven't gotten ready. I haven't done any of that. I slept in this t-shirt, you know. Um, but what I am gonna do is change and put myself together at least a little bit. I do plan on skating at some point at some point today, and I'll circle back to that later. Um, so I don't think I want to like get fully ready, but like just enough to feel functional. So I will be back. All right. So a couple of things. First of all, I want to talk about like why I decided to make this YouTube to do YouTube. Um, and like the biggest thing is accountability. Um, it's helpful to have something to stick to. I'm the kind of person that has always struggled to make meaningful change in my own life. And this feels doable. I don't think it'll be easy, but it feels doable. And I've always kind of been of the mind that if I can do something, anybody can do it. But I also want to show people like the kind of struggles and like all the failures, and I want to be as honest with you as possible, um, because I want to be honest with myself, and that's something that I've also always struggled with. So that's why we're here. Um, Second of all, why? Why? Like I said, I get to do some really cool things in my life, and I've had some really cool experiences. For the first time in my life, I'm like, at least in a very long time, I'm so happy to be alive. That being said, I struggle in my day-to-day life with a lot of things, like even really simple things like getting out of bed and like having a morning routine or going to bed and having an evening routine, and like those are things that I know would make me feel better in my day-to-day life, right? If I had better sleep hygiene, for example. um so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up a Google Doc, and I'm gonna list out what I want to change. Most of these things are going to be how I feel, um, because that's really what I want to change. So I'll be back. All right, I'm back. All right, let's do physical health and mental health. And within these kind of two categories, there's several things that I'd like to work on, right? Um, so as far as physical health, I would like to lose weight. However, I've struggled with that in the past, right? And I struggle to maintain like healthy like eating habits and things like that. So I want to focus as far as physical health on changing habits, not necessarily like a weight goal. A weight goal I think would be helpful just as something to work towards, but I really want to change my habits. I'm not going to calorie count. I'm not going to track weight. I think I am going to do progress pictures. Those are so much more like indicative of the changes that they've made than any like numbers. Although people are like number people, so I might do measurements, but that's something I'll circle back to later. I'll probably take beginning measurements, just like some simple ones. So for physical health, the first thing I want to work on is diet. So as far as diet, I want to limit how much meat I'm consuming. Um, I think I am still going to keep seafood in my diet. I don't really cook with it often, but I do order it at restaurants and things. So I want to find a diet that I can have consistently. Not necessarily like dieting for weight loss, but like just my overall diet, what I eat on a day-to-day basis. Um, with that, I want to have 3 meals a day because that's something I've always struggled with. I also want to kind of increase my protein intake. But instead of that, I'm going to say focus on protein. Or no, prioritize protein. We're going to say prioritize protein. When I'm eating at home, I don't prioritize protein like that. So I think that that'll also help with like fullness throughout the day. Um, Activity. I want to be more active. So I want to start small. Um, so really, I want to do a minimum. I just want to move. I just want to move, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Now, I did set myself 2 New Year's resolutions this year. One of them was to read 13 books by the end of the year, and I think I've read 5, which isn't quite where I wanted to be by this time of year. However, it's more than I would have done if I didn't set a goal. So I'm proud of myself for that. One was to read 13 books throughout the year, and then the other was to learn how to roller skate. Um, so I have been getting out of the house and roller skating, not every day, but like most days. I haven't gone more than I think 2 or 3 days without skating. So I'm gonna put that under activity. I want to learn how to skate. Um, Even if it's 3 times a week, I feel like that's good, right? And I can move stuff in my dining room, for example, and like move furniture around so I can use that space if it's rainy or like grossly hot, right? Um, so I'm happy with that. Diet and activity, I feel like that's the bulk of that. I feel like that's important. Oh, I also I want to consume more water. I have like a fake Stanley, and like while I'm working, I set myself a goal of like 2 full water bottles. Um, so I want to do that. I'm gonna put 2 water bottles, 2 water bottles a day. I think it's a 40 ounce tumbler, so 80 ounces, which I feel pretty good about. I don't know. I think that's like a little more than a half gallon. Um, but that feels doable. So 3 meals a day, prioritizing protein, 2 water bottles a day. I want to move for 10 minutes a day, and I want to skate 3 times a week. So for mental health, there's a couple of things that I want to work on. So I really want to focus on habits and I want to focus on hobbies. Now, I do think that as far as like moving during the day, moving 10 times a day, I do think that I hope at least that'll have like an effect on mental health as well. There's a couple of things. I'm actually going to add one: habits, routines, and hobbies. So, as far as habits, I want to reduce my screen time. It's gotten less and less since I started skating, actually, because I've been going outside, and that's been a lot. Like, it's been nice, right? I was at like over 8 hours a day, and I was spending like a full day on like Instagram and Snapchat. Um, I'm probably gonna leave Snapchat where it is, just because that is social and I'm interacting. It's not really me watching stories and videos. But I do want to get on Instagram less, um, and I just want to be on my phone less. When I am bored and I need stimulation and dopamine, I don't want to just reach for my phone. Um, so I do want to cut back on that. Last week, my average was 6 hours and 23 minutes. I don't know if you can see. Um, 22 and a half of those hours were on social media. Um, 7.5 hours a day, it looks like, was spent on Instagram. I want to cut that back to 2 hours a day. Um, but I also need to keep in mind, right? Like, this is my goal for the end of the 6 months. I'm not going to fix that today. That's going to be a progress. As far as routines, I want to have a morning routine and an evening routine. Oh, I also want to have a cleaning routine. but I might make that into one of the evening and morning. We'll see. Um, as far as hobbies, anyway, I have a lot, right? There's a lot of things that I want to do. I really enjoy cooking and baking. I just don't always have like the spoons, right? The energy to do that. Um, I've kind of rediscovered reading recently. I've always loved reading, especially things like fantasy and sci-fi. I just wasn't doing it as frequently as I used to, and it's been a lot of fun falling back in love with reading. Um, Skating has been a hobby. I picked up paint by number, and crocheting. So I don't know that I want any more new hobbies. I think skating has been a really good new hobby, but I'm gonna list it out anyway. So skating, reading. Oh, video games. I rediscovered and fell in love with like some video games recently. I went a while without playing. I think I was just kind of depressed, right? Like I wasn't interested in doing a lot of things and I ended up just doom scrolling for hours at a time. So these are things that I kind of want to use to replace my screen time. So skating, reading, video games, um, crocheting. And then also just like going out. I really do enjoy going out. I love concerts and seeing my friends and game nights and like all of those things. So I just want to go out more. Cool. I feel like this is a pretty good list. This first page is going to be kind of my goals for the 6 months, right? I'm going to list out my goal for the first month. And what I want to do, I think for month one, and I'm going to put dates, right? So 7/22 to 8/22. Okay. I want to build out a morning routine and an evening routine. Well, as far as a morning routine, some things that I want to change. I don't want the first thing I reach for to be my phone. I actually think I want to read first thing in the morning. If I'm not going to get out of bed, I want to reach for my book and not my phone. And then I started like pre-making coffee and then filling up these little tiny bottles that I got, little glass bottles. So I have iced coffee ready. So I want to read. I want to make coffee. I want to brush my teeth, wash my face. And I really do enjoy doing making to-do lists. I I have a hunch. I think I might have ADHD. But one of the things that's helped is like having a to-do list and kind of overshooting what I'm going to accomplish for the day, but breaking every task down into steps. So instead of writing laundry, I'll write wash my clothes, dry my clothes, hang my clothes up, right? Instead of one task, it becomes like three or four or whatever it is, right? So I want to make to-do lists. Oh, also breakfast, right? And of course, this might look a little different based on if I have to work, but like I think having the to-do for when I come home from work is also going to be super helpful. And then as far as the evening routine, I want to do something similar. I don't want to scroll on my phone until I fall asleep. I tend to like watch videos until I'm gonna fall asleep or scroll on Instagram, which I guess is the same thing because they're usually Instagram reels. So as far as an evening routine, I want to wash my face again, brush my teeth again, and instead of being on my phone for the last kind of section of the day, I really want to read. Um, I actually tried to do this last night, right? Um, I want to read like 50 pages, but I might just read until I get tired and then go to sleep. So, wash my face, brush my teeth, and read. I want to take my meds. I take my meds at night. Um, and I struggle a little bit to be consistent with that, but I'm doing better than I was. So we're gonna take that, right? A win is a win. So, morning routine and evening routine are gonna be the focus this month. I am going to add to my evening routine. I want to before I do all of the things, I do want to take 15 minutes to clean. Um, Mostly my room, but also things like the dishes and like if it means to sweep for a little bit, wipe down counters, just whatever I have to do. Um, but these are the things that I want to accomplish every day. But I also want to add a section for daily habits. So I want to move. I want to move. And I don't always eat breakfast. I don't always want breakfast, but I think I want to at least do breakfast and dinner. And if I'm not hungry for lunch during the day, I don't need to have lunch. And if I have an early dinner, that's fine. And then if I get snacky, I can get snacky. I think these are my goals for month one. Um, I want to add. I want to work backwards. I want to be confident. I feel like if I met another person that has the traits that I do and the kinds of hobbies that I do, I'd think they were so cool. And I don't feel that way about myself. So I really want to. I want to see the person that my friends see. And I know that they care a lot about me, but I don't see the same person that they see. And I want that. I want to be confident and I want to be proud of myself. And I'm just not really. And it's not that I don't have reason to be, because I do have reason to be. But I'm not. I didn't plan for this video. I really was just like, I need to just start. Um, and then it'll get easier as I go. I feel good about this. So we're gonna stick to this. I don't really know how I want to do videos moving forward. Um, I don't think I want to do daily vlogs, or like a day in my life necessarily. Um, but I do think I want to do many kind of videos that focus on one thing at a time. So, for example, like do a video where I go through my morning routine, or I do a video where I go through my evening routine, or even something small like, oh, what I eat in a day. So, that all being said, um, I'm looking forward to this. I'm nervous for sure, um, but I'm excited because this feels different than the other times I've tried to kind of get my life together. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Even if this winds up just being a handful of my friends, if you're watching this, I love you and I appreciate you. And I hope that you have an amazing day, an amazing weekend, an amazing night, whatever you have going on right now. And I'll see you soon. Bye.